3 or 4 hours of distractions, we are finally making an attempt to create this video. We're going to train how to do 3D art and modeling from an image. And today I have with me my daughter.
Hello.
And she may ask questions while we're recording, and I'm hoping that this will actually help improve my training session by having someone who's learning,
A person to talk to.
sitting here with me. So first I obviously open up Milkshape, and then the very first thing we want to do is we want
Turn
to
off the phone.
add a reference image. And so I'm going to put it, choose background image. So what I did is I right click on this window and I select choose background image, and then I click the little arrows.
Is it anywhere in the window or specifically the top left?
Anywhere,
right one?
anywhere.
Okay.
I'm doing this one because it's right facing, and I know that the image I want to use is right facing. And then these are the images I had prepared. I have to go find it. There.
And everyone will know.
That's
how many
okay.
Windows it is.
Okay, so we're going to start with a toad. And here we're going to start with it with 0 offset, but then we'll change it after we see kind of where that is. Okay, now I want the bottom of the animal to be level with that pink axis, so I'm going to offset the y-axis. I can't remember if it's positive or negative. Let's just try this. Okay, I need it to be negative. And
So it goes away from the ground.
yeah, and I need it to be, it's also huge, so I'm probably going to make it smaller. So we'll do -5. It's already at 1/4 scale. And try 0.1. That's a little better.
Morning.
Okay, we're getting close. There, that looks good. So now then I press Control and left click to move it around the screen, and then I just use the mouse wheel to zoom in, to scroll in. And I'm going to get as much of the animal on here as I can. And we're going to, I think we've got this set up now, so we're going to create vertex. So each little dot is the vertex, and this is how we create the mesh. Now this is how I do it. This is the basic way how I very first learned. There are other ways to do it. I want to show 2 ways of making a model today. This is a very basic way, and it really helped me understand about 3D modeling. So the first thing we're going to do is create an outline.
Making a video.
And
3 or 4 of the chickens came up and I started throwing bread, and all of a sudden, boom!
Lots of birds.
The brave ones got the treats.
so we just create this outline. And this is going to be half of the model. Now here we don't want to follow around the eye because the eye sticks out on the side of the head. So what we're actually going to do is just follow the shape of the head here. And I put those...
Those two went too high.
Yeah, they were too high.
It's gonna have a pointy head.
And so we just go back, undo.
So is there a reason to not zoom in to try and get a more precise thing?
I just like to see where I'm going next, and sometimes I misclick and don't realize I've misclicked, and then I'll have this little vertex out in space, and that can really mess up a game model. Now what I'm probably doing here is adding too many vertices to get a precise shape. For a game model, we don't really need that many, so I'm probably adding too many.
Also really hard to tell where the frog is on the black background with the dark back.
Yeah, it's okay. I can see well enough. It's kind of bumpy skin here.
The better to escape with
Uh-huh.
and not be turned into a polygon.
Now here, this is going to be a little bit challenging because we can't actually see the shape of the back of the frog, so we're going to have to guess. I'm guessing the tail goes all the way to the end.
Pretty sure that's the hindquarters.
Yeah, that's the back of the leg, but I think it actually goes all the way to there. And then it's going to go around. We can see this sort of a shape here. And so we're going to follow that shape in our imagination.
The other thing is it's squished a bit weird because it's sitting there.
Yeah. This might not have been the best one, but I was trying to look for something that did not have wings. That was also an animal in Cyprus, and apparently all of the wildlife photos are either sheep, donkeys, or birds, and it was really hard to find a non-winged creature.
Because sheep and donkeys have wings.
I know, what I already have a model of a sheep and a donkey, so I didn't need another one. I wanted to make a model of something for Cyprus that I didn't already
I
have.
think that verticine, you had your mouse next to it, the one in the middle.
Here?
The middle of the leg. I think that needs to go lower. By like 1 square.
Maybe. So if we want to select it, we just click select. We have to choose vertex though, because we don't have any groups yet. So choose select and vertex, and then we can just move it wherever we want it to be.
I was thinking 1 full square.
It looks like it's gonna go down.
Yeah,
It'll
but
be
it's a lumpy frog.
Well, the belly is much softer and smoother. So this is the general shape of the body. And then we can start making so you can see over here in the front view, this is our frog. It is a line.
Only the best frogs are lines.
This is the top view of our frog.
Also a line.
This is also a line. It's because that's really all we have. You can see the
Kind of looks like a frog, even on there, actually. If you get a more of a flat face. It's a frog. Yeah, I think that one below the one we have selected right now needs to also go down. I think the belly is all one sphere.
yeah, it probably is. So we can select that vertex and move it too.
It just doesn't quite look like it because of the shadowing.
Because the frog's leg is there, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that looks
It
right.
probably actually goes almost to the ground because he's sitting on his belly.
Mm-hmm. That looks right.
There's the shape of our frog. So that was the easy part.
I don't think I don't need quite that many vertices
We
on
probably
don't.
don't.
The back quarter of the back.
So that's one problem that I have. If I zoom in too much, I put too many verts. And looks like there's lumps there. Like it goes up and down and around.
Mm-hmm.
If you zoom in, it looks like, oh no, I need more verts, and then you zoom out, and you're like, oh wow, maybe I don't need that many.
But
We'll just try. We're gonna try it like this. So,
you put less when you zoomed in,
no, there's a lot more when I zoomed in.
though.
I intentionally didn't put any here because I know this is the spine, and that part is straight. But this is getting close to where the frog will bend when we animate it, and it's gonna need a little bit more geometry in order to be able to bend without looking like it's being split in half.
It's gonna turn into a spike ball.
And so those are things that I think about while I'm making the geometry is where is this animal going to need to bend? So next we are going to put more verts in, and I like to start at the face. So we want to think about triangles. Milkshape works with triangles, and so every time we put in a triangle, it's gonna
Seems like with how wide of a face it has, you would want to put those triangles really squished from this angle.
I probably will. I'll probably need to push them more to the front here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So when we want to select multiple dots,
You hold shift.
you hold shift and then left click,
I know the shift.
and you collect all the things you want to move. And then you move them.
Yeah, it seems.
Okay, now those need to be moved.
Mm-hmm. 3 on the throat, though, seem alright, because that's more tall instead of wide.
And there's another thing we have to do, and that's control. That's not shift. Okay. Control, shift. Okay.
You also want to have those two
So that
shoulder
one
selected.
is moved in the wrong place now. Okay. Well, I'm trying to show something else that we need to do here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you'll see these are all still lined up on this line. Well, we don't want that to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to move them out. I'm going to try and get this. This starts to give volume to our frog. No, that's... Oh, I moved it the wrong way. I want to go right, because we're working on the right side. Okay, that will be better. So this is the head of our frog here. So we can see its shape a little bit better. And I can see already I need to push those dots a little more forward because the frog is going to have
A very flat
a
nose.
very flat nose in the front. And so I can move that forward. And now then, what I want to do is I want to create faces. So I have to select, you can only select exactly 3. And the way I do it is I select the vertices and then I press the command to create a face, which is the letter F. And then you have to do it again. And again. And I want those 3, I think. See what I'm doing here.
And those two are on top of each other almost.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
Looks like
One of those needs to be moved. Trying to figure out which one.
could probably just remove one.
I'm probably just gonna move it. This looks like one of them isn't over here anymore. I'm gonna need some geometry over here, so. I'll try that.
Oh, I wonder if that's the one from the mouth.
Probably got moved.
So the one you have selected should go in.
Yeah, speaking of the mouth, let's go ahead and move that one again. Well, that's the inside one. Where's our... We need to make another dot. Okay. There we go. Now we got the mouth going. So if you want to unselect, you can right click and select it and that will unselect it. Exactly 3. So I've got more than 3 chosen here. Right there. So right click and make a box around it and that unselects. And so then I can unselect that one. And choose that one, and that's not the right one. Where is the dot that I want? Sometimes I can get Control-Shift-Click to work in this window, and sometimes not. And it's not working for me right now. So I'm going to zoom in over here.
You got a lot of dots right in one spot.
Yeah, but see, we're also seeing some of those that are in the back of the model. We're seeing a lot of these also. And so I have to discern which one is the one I actually want. There we go. So there's, I don't want it. I can choose them from this side too. That might make it easier. No, see what happens? So we've got one over here on
It's
the
got
back.
a big mouth.
Yeah, and that messes you up. So sometimes it's not very good to do it that way. It's better to just stay here where we're working. The finches disagree. They say don't do that.
It just selects both of them.
Yeah. Just have to figure out which one. What, that one? Yeah, okay. So this is probably actually the hard way of doing this. There's another way of making models that might be considered an easier way, where you start out with like a ball and then you just change the shape of the ball. But I found it very helpful to understand what those dots actually were by doing it this way first. I had trouble understanding how to use the ball until I understood how to use the dots. And so this helped me. And it may or may not help you, but maybe it's a good starting point to learn from. So now that is something we don't want that to go across there.
Yeah, you stopped with putting the extra dots at that point.
Right. So
now we whistle into the camera.
we need more dots. But I think we actually need to undo that face. And move that out. Here. Trouble figuring out what to do here. Let's get that geometry in there. And then we can put another dot here. Now we need some. When we animate it, we want the frog's head to be able to stretch smoothly. So I'm putting extra dots here. And move it out. Here that looks like that's overlapped, so I wanted to double check that, make sure I didn't create that wrong.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that needs to go further forward. The two outer ones on that vertice should go further forward.
This is the one that I'm looking at right here. Might be okay. Sometimes they just look like that.
Yeah, it's a weird wrinkle in its throat. Might could go down.
That's probably okay.
But I do think those two need to go forward.
Which two? These?
Mm. Yeah.
Well, what I was noticing was, whereas it has a very flat nose, this area of the throat is actually, it doesn't seem to be all that flat, but we can...
But the thing is, this is the very front bit, and so even if it
Yeah,
doesn't
we don't
seem
want
quite
it
as
to
flat,
look pointy.
when you double
Yeah.
it, it'll make a little triangle point. And
You're right, very good.
I know this from trying to draw half a face while doing a frontal view type thing, and then just duplicating it over, and then realizing that I made it too narrow.
Yeah. Ah.
Sorry. Okay, just scoot forward.
Okay. And I can move this down too a little bit so we don't do that there. Sometimes I start thinking too far ahead and
I'm over here like, no matter how rounded you think you got it, you need to make it even more rounded.
Alright. And now we need another dot.
In some cases it works to just make, in this case, two for her to see wide, just flat front.
Yeah. Alright, and we'll select all three of those and pull them out.
You'd probably end up making it like 3 or 4 things wide on the bottom because it's a big flat frog.
Yeah.
It's like you take a burger bun and you take 2 of the top ones and put them together, and that's the width of the frog.
Okay. I think we need another one next to it and another one here. And next to it and here. Now I have to pull all those out.
That should probably start going a bit extra wide since it's getting into the body,
Yeah.
like the 2 lower ones. Well, the thing is, I think those 2 upper ones don't need to quite go too far, but the 2 lower ones do. Or actually, no, yeah, those 2 are next to the arms, so those would also go out further.
Mm-hmm. That one. That one.
Just making little zigzags,
Yep.
zigzagging along.
Now we go to the next one. Looks like. Here.
You're putting twice as many dots for this part?
Yeah, because we need to get some stretchy geometry in here.
So it can croak.
Yeah, and so it can jump.
Mm-hmm. And this is about where it's going even extra wide.
Just start stretching it out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think the uppermost one probably shouldn't go that much further out.
Yeah, I can move it. I just wanna. And I think that one probably can go out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of a line.
A nice curve.
Yep. Okay, now we come back here, make that geometry. This one. Control, click to move, and I think we're at the belly now, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to actually move this down a little bit.
I think that might be an outer one.
I think it is, and I think it needs to come down. It's not. It's not going to make a round enough belly for us.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to just imagine a texture for it to try and fix that. So that's going to be our biggest challenge, is making a good texture for this.
Mm-hmm.
A texture that will fit the belly correctly. So.
The thing is, you could make the vertices, or the faces, and then move the vertices.
You could, yes.
So that then you don't accidentally click on like 5 at once, because they're all layered on top of each other because the belly is so wide.
Mm-hmm. But sometimes you still will accidentally click them even if you make the faces first. So I like to do it this way when I'm making it completely from scratch.
Well, I'm thinking you could move them out, but for moving them down to make the belly wider, so you don't have to click on the ones that are all on top of each other.
I got one here already. What is that one?
That one might be a far away one. Oh no, it isn't. Kind of looks like that was supposed to be on the other side. In the flat area.
I just have too many dots. Where is that? So that's these two. Okay, let's delete that one then. And where is that? Doesn't seem to jump out really far here. But not here. does it look down here?
It looks like one of those was
Looks
supposed
like
to
we're
stay straight.
missing.
Yeah, I think
a
that's
dot
what's going
here.
on.
Yeah.
We deleted the one that was supposed to be there.
Yeah. Maybe deleted 2. So let's put a dot there. And there. Now they match up better. There we go. Okay. And that happens all the time. You just have to figure out, okay, what did I break? And then you fix it. And that's very normal.
Something's wrong here. What happened?
It never goes perfectly every single click. You just have to figure out what got broken and just fix it. It's okay.
It looks like those 3 are too high.
Hmm?
These 3 are too high. See how it bends weird there?
That one right there.
No, that was too. That one's too low, if anything. I'm talking about the 3 right behind it.
Oh, okay. Like,
Yeah, those 3. That's in and out, not height. Yeah. And the centermost one like could go down more than the other 2. Now it gets a big flat belly.
And now the one behind it wants to move too.
Both of them.
You're jealous. You can move too.
That looks better.
Except for this one here. I
Yeah,
moved it too far.
It went a little too slow.
Yeah, he's got kind of stitches down his belly, so we need to fix that. Okay.
Kinda looks like that one needs to go down a tiny bit.
Which one is that?
3 to the right of the current selected one. Yeah. That should be good.
There we go. Okay.
You can
now
probably
I
fix it
can-
more later when
Yeah,
it
you
duplicates.
can. You can fix it more later.
Now we're looping back up, so that side's gonna get confusing.
It's also going to be difficult because we're not actually working in a visible space. We're in our imagination now.
Sometimes I find it easier to figure out where things are that way, actually. Also, I think these need to start going narrower. Since it's getting squished in by the back leg, the widest point is that open area of the belly. Pull them out real far. And then goes straight for a couple things there. And has a flat face at the very back.
What? There's just a lot of making dots here. Wasn't exactly where I wanted that, but we're gonna have to come up here. Where are those dots?
Hmm?
There it is. Okay, come up in here.
Thing is, I don't think it's that
Mhm.
okay.
What? What?
I don't think it's that pointy at the end. Is that lower left on the top view?
This is top view, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it should be more rounded at the end.
Well, it will be. This is just the first row.
But you'll get it rounded by making the very edge flatter rather than pointed.
I don't know what you're saying. You might be right, but I don't know what you're saying.
The way you have it here, it's going to have an arrowhead shape at the very tip.
Well, I'm not done making dots yet.
That
I'm
dot there needs to go
I'm not done.
down a
I'm
bit.
not done.
It needs to go down.
Okay, maybe we will fix it, but let me do what I'm doing right here.
Okay.
Just try and get lost in dots. I need to make some geometry.
Mm. That's why I was getting confused about how it is. I couldn't see the lower right where it actually shows where the things are. That looks like the right one.
Yeah. So you have to be careful that you don't like get cross here and then cross that way. I've done that before. Well, if you don't notice it until you've got the whole model done, it's such a mess to clean that up. It's so much better if you can catch it early if you do something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to be real careful not to do it in the first place, but it is something that happens sometimes, and then you like, see here, I'll show you. If you go across like that, you selected 3 dots and you made 3 faces, but then it's messed up because you don't want it to cross over
Mm-hmm.
like that. So that's what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want it to do that. We want it to do this so that they're correct.
Little triangle zigzags.
Mm-hmm. But it can be hard to understand where you're where you are on your geometry sometimes when you're trying to figure it out. Especially if you get a really complicated model.
Like a frog.
Like a frog. This was supposed to be an easy model. I thought about making a snail, and I thought, well, that'll be too small. I don't need a snail. So,
In the snail, you get like 5 faces, and you're like, alright, it's a circle.
well, a snail would be better to actually just use with start with a sphere and squish it and pull it out. And I can do a snail really fast without making all this geometry. It's pretty flat.
Because that's where the hips are.
Yep.
And that one should go in a little bit further, I think. Maybe that one goes the furthest in. I'm looking at the frog picture and it looks like it should go in right around the end of the leg there and then go back out.
Let's put some geometry in here.
I think you're aligning those to the belly now. Those last two jumped out real far.
Yeah.
I've been looking on the blue screen.
It might be okay. And they're gonna be wide across the top too. So. Okay. That one. There we go. And then there. There. Nope, not that one. It sure looked right from this view.
You gotta look at all the references.
Yeah, that's why you need the different windows. I lost a dot somewhere. There it is.
Yay.
Like I had 3 dots. Where did it go?
Yeah, the one ran away.
I thought that was a dot there. It was kind of hard to tell because the frog is white there, so. This window here is probably the most important window.
Because you're looking at the 3D model in 3D. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought that would be helpful.
I know, right? That's just why that other program might actually be even better. It'll be fun to try out that one.
Can't remember the name right now.
Codon. Can't touch it. There we go.
It'd be nice if you could upload 3D models, because then you could like make one in this and then edit it in Codon
Yeah.
in order to like smooth out.
It might be possible now. It didn't used to be, but it might be now.
Because it's been a year since we last looked at it.
Maybe 2 years. I think it's been longer than a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a Minecraft. Good frosting. Thank you. Thing about the bump is you might want to pull those dots in.
That's something that I think, so we're not, I'm not trying to make, an anatomically precise model. A lot of those bumps are going to be done with texture and not geometry.
Oh yeah, there's that.
We could add that geometry. Probably, if I were to do that, after we finished this basic model, I would probably load that into like Sculptress or something and use those pulling tools that are in Sculptress and make actual bubbles on it where all the little
So if you
lumpy
want
parts are.
so if you want to do that, you might as well remove those 2 extra vertices and move that other one down just so that it's flat.
Yeah, maybe. I'm gonna work with it now, but I might move it after I've already finished all this. I'm gonna look at it and see.
I'm just thinking that part of the back probably wouldn't move very much. I think it's mostly the legs that would move.
Yeah.
Because unlike a cat, who is made out of a liquid, frogs, I think, don't actually move their spine much. Although I haven't looked at a lot of frog references, so I can't confirm. In some cases, the flexible animals are even harder to draw than the non-flexible animals, because it looks like you just broke their spine and twisted their leg backwards, but then you look at an actual reference and you're like, oh yeah, they just do that normally. Okay.
Anyway, after I've chosen where vertices should go, I don't like to go back and erase them until I see what the geometry looks like, and then I might blend them together or erase them or do other things. But
And then I'm over here trying to imagine what the model will look like, and then looking at the snippet of it in my mind and being like, so this area should look about like that. And if we're gonna make it a flat plane, then those two things need to go away. The other one needs to smooth down. And I have no idea if it's right or not, because I don't do 3D modeling.
Well, you will be. You will be very soon.
Yeah, I should have put an asterisk on there, a silent one, with where and then you go to the bottom of the page and it says yet.
There we go. It's hard to put an asterisk in verbal speech. I cannot unselect that without unselecting the other one. It's very frustrating.
And that's what the other screens are for.
Yes, that is what they are for.
It's like, no, really, I don't want to select that one. I guess the closest I've done to 3D modeling in some way is trying to make stuff in Minecraft, because I have tried to build a few things. And the individual vortex and faces are kind of like placing the thing one block at a time.
Vertex?
Vertex.
Not vortex. Vertex.
I thought I said vertex.
You said vortex.
We're gonna build this with vortexes.
Not quite. That
Get in
would
your
be a
safety
very-
tether.
That would be a very different experience. Okay, where is... What am I doing? There we go.
And the title is only live stream. It's not about anything, we're just live streaming.
Yes, because I finally did it that way because I kept trying to make a title of my live stream and then it wouldn't save it and it would use the title from my previous one. So like I did an entire live stream once of game development that was still titled Watch My Family Eat Spicy Chocolate, and it was very frustrating. So I just do, look, I'm doing a live stream now. Come see what it is. Because it was really frustrating to have it completely erroneously titled. So I made it more generic. I noticed a lot of other live streamers do that too, and I'm like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Now I know why you do that.
I think they might change the go live notification for that. And so for
They
people who
might.
have notifications on, you can see what's the thing. Then they get there and it just says live stream, but by the time they're there, they're like, I can now see what is happening. Need more dots. The dots have run
I
out.
do. I was looking at what that was doing there. I think that looks okay.
It seems like
That one right there may need to come down.
yeah, it's kind of looking at that area. I
It
think the
looks-
one right in front of it as well.
Maybe.
Unless we're gonna have an off-center bump, which is
Yeah,
possible.
I think that's okay. Okay, we're gonna leave it like that for now.
With the belly, it's like you gotta try real hard to make it smooth, and then the back, it's like, might be able to get away with that.
Yeah. Where's that? Okay. Is that right? Okay. I think there's keyboard shortcuts for some of these things that I'm doing, but I like my mouse. I've been using my mouse for a very long time and kind of got used to it.
Hmm.
See, that dot there I'm gonna have to move, but I'm gonna wait till after we have some geometry before I decide if I'm actually moving it or not.
Apparently my mind is really good at playing connect the dots. So I look at that and I'm like, oh yes, that's what the plane looks like.
Oh, good. You'll be good at this then. This really is connect the dots. I've said that lots of times. Is this?
Now it gets hard to connect the dots.
Connect the dots.
If you were to like fill in the entire thing with dots without doing any planes, but since most of it has planes and I'm just trying to connect a few of the dots, it's like I can see about what that
Yeah,
is.
if you just fill in a whole bunch of dots here and then try to, that would be so hard. I kind of did that once. I did a whole bunch of dots and then I went back and tried to fill in the faces and it was really hard to. Now, what was I thinking? Why is this here?
It's like making a really rough sketch and then the next day going in to fill it in, just fix it and like outline and all that. And you're like, wait, was this line just a random thing that I didn't bother to erase? Or was this where the thing's actually supposed to be?
Right. What was I thinking? Yeah.
That also happens to me, like, looking at my sketchbook. I'm like, this is from a month ago, and I have no idea what I was doing here, because I could not draw the correct line, and so there's, like, 50 lines in one area. And I don't know what this was anymore.
Yeah.
That's me hitting the door knocker handle. It's a good door knock.
The drawer handle. Yeah.
And the drawer handle makes for a good door knock.
Yeah, except there's nobody home in that drawer.
Hopefully. The only one that would be home in that drawer would be a mouse. We don't want mice. At least not in drawers. That place looks like it might be especially flat.
But it's only going to be like right through the middle of the eyes on the top of the head, so it's not actually going to be all that big.
It kind of looks like you outlined the eye and not the head in that area.
Maybe
You outlined the closer eye.
I might have. It's hard to tell where the head goes there.
I'm pretty sure it would just be a flat thing.
I think it goes flat down.
Yeah. Well, if you look here, it goes down there.
Just trying to see where my dot is. Which one
I
have I
want to
just
like put a little sketch line to show where I think it is, because I can see it in my head.
It's okay. We can pull these down here a little bit.
It should have like a slight bump where that next dot is, theoretically. If it's how most heads are classically shaped.
It's how frog heads are shaped.
I don't have much research on frogs, so I go by different head shapes, and it makes it a bit difficult to tell. I'm like, based on all my other research on felines, canines, and equines, let's figure out what this amphibian looks like. Completely different.
There we go. Alright, we'll try that.
Okay.
It still needs a little bit of a head shape, so let's actually just go back and make this geometry since we're stopped here. And that
You need the other one.
would not be correct.
It looks so right on that flat
It
plate.
does look right. I'm like, are you sure?
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's I am sure it doesn't go there.
The computer's like, you could do that if you want to. Not sure what you're making if you're doing that, but you
Computer
could do it.
doesn't care. You have 3 dots, I'll connect 3 dots.
He likes all the dots.
You can do whatever you want with the dots. I will connect them.
Oh,
But only exactly 3.
Yeah, it doesn't know how to do 4 things. It doesn't understand squares. It only believes in triangles.
So, Maya and Blender can both do quads. And some people really prefer working in quads. but Milkshape only does triangles. And a lot of game engines will only do triangles. You have to triangulate your quad model before you can load it into a game engine. So it's fine if I can just use triangulated models, because that's mostly what I'm doing anyway, is game engine stuff. However, when you see a model with quads, it helps you learn a little bit about how to make better triangles, because you can see how you can really smooth it out and plane it out. It was hard for me at first to figure out, wait, squares? How do you make anything out of squares? But it actually does work.
It's like the difference between a square map and a hex map. They're real different and yet the same.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it actually made a dot there.
Yeah, there's no triangle dots there. Need to add in the last stretch of dots.
There is a dot there. It was covered up. Uh-oh, which means I might have too many dots. Undo. There we go. Okay. There were 2 dots there.
Uh-oh. So that one needs moved out?
Yes.
Thing is, this part seems like you'd rather quickly move up. So these ones either need to be closer to the center or tilted upwards. To make it smaller.
Yeah, we probably do. Hold on. Yeah, focus, you know what I'm doing.
Sorry. It's like I'm the one learning here. I think I should do this thing.
Uh-huh. I did notice that.
Sorry. I'm over here like I can imagine it in my head.
That's okay. You're learning and asking questions, and that's why you're here, is to ask questions.
And it's like, I think you should do it this way. What are the reasonings for not doing it this way?
As you know, so much of art is feel.
Which makes it real hard to verbalize
And it's
reasonings.
hard to say, well, I do it for this exegetical reason that I can completely describe for all these details. It's like, I did it because it feels right and it looks good. But I can't really tell you why.
That's basically what happens to me as well. People are like, hey, you should talk about art. And like, how do I do the art thing? And I'm like, you just do the art thing. I don't know how.
Right.
Which makes it kind of cool for the people who are able to figure out how to do art tutorials, because it's like, hey, you can at least verbalize or like visualize what you do to some extent. Congratulations.
Yeah. Not quite up in the air like that. There we go.
It still looks a bit up in the air.
I think it's gonna be okay.
Okay.
I might have to move it a little bit, but I'm
It's close
trying to
enough for
do.
now.
I'm trying to do something, and yeah, these are such fine details right now that I think it's gonna be okay.
Okay.
And we are almost back to the beginning.
Mm-hmm. There and back again. A 3D artist tale.
So much so, we can actually just start right here where we are if we want to. We can make those faces. Did I do that wrong?
No, it's just at a weird angle.
Looks like I did it wrong. Sure I didn't do it wrong?
You could connect it to the other dot if you
I
don't want it to
think
be.
it is wrong. Yeah. Where is that dot?
The other dot's right there.
I think I need another dot. That looks better.
All the dots in the face, because the face needs the most detail.
Well, it at least needs to look like he didn't get smashed in the face by a truck. Alright. There we go. There's gonna be an extra one there. I gotta figure out which one it is. Not that one.
What if you just sort of come in and
Yeah,
just
I
select
think
one
I'm
layer?
gonna have to come to this window over here. Where are we? Who is yelling out there?
I don't know.
One of our ducks is yelling a lot.
What's the problem, Ducky?
Nope, that's the one I wanted. Where's the one I don't want? No. No. That one. No. I can't find the dot that I want.
Oh no.
There are 4 dots selected, and I have to get rid of one of them. Is that it? No. Now there's 5 dots selected. Okay, 4. Is it down?
Is it on the center line or the outside line?
Now I have the wrong ones all selected. This is the one I don't want.
So that's on the outside line, so it's on that. Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
When they're in a nice zigzag like that, it makes it very nice.
Yeah, it's nice when they just go dit dot dit dot dit dot dit dot. And then, as soon as we
Getting over top the hill.
get this part, that is not right. There we go. That looks so wrong up here, but it is the correct one. I'm like, no, that can't be right. Actually, that's right. Are you sure that's right? Yep. Like I
On the
said, it was
home
better to
stretch.
just double check and make really sure you have it right before you click that button. I'll put an extra vert here and here so the neck will move better. Okay, now I'm going to show you
the first strip done.
a magic trick.
Mm?
Now I'm going to show you a magic trick. First though, we should save this.
In case the magic trick backfires.
In case it works. Yeah, in case it breaks.
It turned into a poof of smoke instead of a bunny. Oh no. Or in this case, a frog.
Amphibian. Frogs. New folder. Cypress frog. And we're going to put it in here. We're going to call it dun 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 Cypress frog.
What a plot twist.
Right. Oh, actually, I should actually give it a number. That will be its final name. But right now, we're actually going to give it 01.
Because 00.
Ryven likes 00. I like 01.
Programmers like 00.
Artists like 01.
Mathematicians like 00.
I've been trained by a programmer. I start out at 00 when I do that type of thing.
You've been trained by both of us, probably. So you probably have a mix. Okay, here's the magic
Maybe.
trick.
I may have at first done 01, and then Raven came over and was like, you should do 00, and so I started doing 00 instead.
Okay, here's the magic trick. I'm trying to teach you a magic trick.
Also, what I actually have started doing is 000, because there's no way I'm going to use 1,000.
Yes, and for a lot of things
That
I do.
sounds-
Hopefully, I do not have more than 99 iterations of this frog, though. That would be really disappointing.
Yeah, you're saying there's no way you'd have 1,000. Sounds like the logic I would use to not do 000.
Alright, watch this.
Well, the thing is, I have several times more likelihood of doing at least 100 things than I have of doing at least 1,000 iterations of that thing.
The way I save things makes it unlikely that I would have more than 10 iterations.
I like to put 3 zeros.
Here's our bend. And I want to see this really well on both these views here, because these are the two main views I'm going to be using. And we're going to click on extrude. And we're going to make... it's not working. Okay, I have to choose faces. May not work. We're going to try it anyway. But we're going to have to actually select the faces and not the birds. Make sure that didn't undo extrude. Okay. Okay, now we're going to select all these.
It is absolutely everything.
Yeah. It might not work. We might have to do one more row of these things, but it will be easier because we can just select all those dots and make it. But we're going to try it.
The frog is glowing red. Everyone be afraid.
I think it's actually not going to work because... yeah. It would only work if I was squishing it in. So let me show you what this will do, but it's yeah, because it's going to actually connect to the back wall also, I think.
If you move it down, then it'd be easy to tell.
I'm going to click to move though. Yeah, see? It's got this, it's connected to the back wall also. So that's not actually going to work for us this time.
Would you be able to unselect the vertices while also having the planes, the faces selected, and then do that? Like undo what you've done.
I think I understand what you mean. I don't think it's going to work though.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's possible. It seems unlikely because it would select the dots along with the faces for every dot that the face is connected to. But undo what you've
Well,
done
we
here
can
and-
try. We saved it so we can experiment with this. So we can select these. And yeah, that ruined.
It's inside out.
That I can actually fix really easily. But the problem is it disconnected all those. So that's not actually going to work for us.
It's not quite what I was saying either.
Okay. What were you saying?
To undo the extrude, I have a feeling it will definitely not work, but I don't know for sure because I'm new to this.
Okay.
What if you went to select vertex, because you're on that, and unselect all the vertices on the center line? You'd still have the faces.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It might. We can try that. Let's see.
Hey. So now, if you extrude, will it be not selected to those?
Let's find out. I haven't used this tool in a long time. It kind of does. So. Yeah, see how it's...
Looks like it did about the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, it did the same thing.
Okay.
So there's other cool uses for this, but this one isn't working this time.
Mm.
So undo extrude, undo select, and duplicate and remove.
That doesn't appear to have duplicated anything.
It doesn't appear to have duplicated anything. What did it do?
I just realized the extrude. Does the extrude try to be going to the left side rather than the right? Because the way it made that black thing when you moved it the other way looked a lot like how the extrude was.
Well, we're trying to do something here. Let me show you what it does.
Okay.
We'll make a plane here. And then I can extrude this plane this way. And it makes a box. And then I can select just some of those faces and not those at the bottom. And extrude it again.
You make more box.
And it will move up part of the box. So it only extrudes pieces that you have. And now it didn't actually create a face over here. Not quite sure why actually. It should have, but it didn't. So we would have to go through and fix that. Anyway, it basically just extends the geometry on whatever plane that you have those faces selected, and whatever direction you drag it. I could also, let's see, since we know that those weren't selected in there, I can just choose those. And I can show you, you can drag it any direction you want. You can extrude it inward if you want to.
If you want to make it look real weird. Actually, that looks like a hole in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Nice crack.
So you can extrude it inward and it will do that. And now you have a geometry here. Or you can extrude it the other way.
To make a really weirdly shaped button.
Yeah, and so now it's extruded that way. So it just goes wherever you tell it to, but it should be on the same plane as your faces are facing.
I can like half formulate in my mind what I think it's doing with the frog, because I think it's doing basically that, but the way the frog is doesn't quite work with it at the moment.
Yeah, it doesn't work with it at the moment. There might be a way to make it faster, but I can't remember how to do it. I've done it before and I can't remember what I did. I thought I was able to actually just extrude it out that way, but anyway, it isn't working now. So you can see this will take a very long time. This is why 3D artists should get paid more. Because it can take a long time to make a really finite model like this. I'm wanting to show you some other things that this isn't showing you. Because you seem to have figured this out. And probably don't need to see me iterate the entire rest of this frog, which I can save and we can work on later. But so for I might finish out the rest of the body later, but we can go ahead and make the eyes, which I think you have to start in the middle.
You got big eyes.
Yep, they do have big eyes. And then we're gonna move it where we think the eye should actually be, which is probably gonna be more like out here. See, this would be better if we had the rest of the frog done. But I feel like it's getting late, and I want to make sure I teach you more than how to make triangles.
Now we know how to make a circle. You find the circle tool.
Yes, and then where did that go? Duplicate. And then this is how you get it exactly on the other side. Here it is. Mirror, left, right. Now they're exactly
The same distance.
the
from
same
center.
distance from each other on the center.
So you don't have a lopsided face frog.
Right. And then another thing we can do is we can make another sphere right here,
Unless you specifically want to do that,
unless you want to.
you can make a lopsided face thing.
So we can make another sphere here. That's not what I want to do. I want to move it. And about like that.
Oh, is that going to be its shoulder?
Yes. And I'm actually going to go over here to these groups.
It might be at about the same distance as the eye.
So here's how you name your objects. You have to type in what you want and give it a name. And it's really, really good to actually name them appropriately.
This is the part that's like naming layers in Photoshop, which I only sometimes do.
Yeah. So when you get 29 things on here, it can get confusing. So right now I want to hide the body and I want to hide the eyes so I don't mess up my geometry, and I'm going to work on this leg. And so now I'm going to go back to select vertex, and we're going to change the shape of this, and we are going to use that extrude tool here in a minute. Can't see how this leg is shaped. There's too many shadows on this frog.
Well, it gives you a pretty good idea of the frog's overall shape, so you can be like, that looks like it's probably wider.
Yeah.
And I'm having trouble telling it as if the leg goes out wide, further out than the eye or not.
I believe it does, yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking like where
The
the
leg
shoulder
does.
starts. Like obviously the whole leg will go further out, but I'm wondering if the start of the shoulder is on the same plane or closer to the center than the eye.
I'm not sure.
There's a part where you like look up an extra reference image of a frog from
Mhm.
Google and be like, hey, I want a top down of the frog.
That would be where you're actually supposed to get the anatomy of a frog. which can help.
Hmm.
And it's actually how you're supposed to do it, I think, but it's not what I'm doing right now. I'm just using a reference image. So
Right now, you're like, let's copy the leg and then figure out how far out it goes later.
yeah, basically. I'm feeling like that might not need to be quite like that. Probably. Where is this?
The problem that I tend to have with Sculptress is when I have more than one circle, like I'll have the main circle for the body and put in another one for the legs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to connect those so that there aren't just phantom faces in the middle of the body from trying to connect the circles.
Mm.
Because I couldn't find anything to just tell it, get rid of these faces in the middle of the thing and also connect these two circles so that they're the same thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not that great with sculptures. I couldn't figure that out either. It's a great tool, but I wasn't able to make it do everything it's probably capable of doing. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to get this flat, or flatter, and less round. Don't want to lose track of that. Vertex. Okay, so where's that one? There. And what are these? Okay. There. Now we'll select the front that I've created. Not that. That doesn't appear to be all of it. Why can't I select all of it?
You're selecting faces.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
I want the whole front. And not the sides. So I thought I unselected the front. I dragged my mouse too far and hit the front a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can see right here these sides are not selected. Well, it looks like they're selected there. There we go. Now they are. Starting to wonder if it was wrong. Now we can extrude the leg. And then to make it better leg shaped. We're gonna have to rotate it a little bit. And then select these. No, I need verts. So I need to pull those down. So I think the leg goes right about there. It's kind of hard for me to tell.
And we're just ignoring that the center line is even further than the edges there.
Yeah, it's kind of not how I want it to be, but I think actually this would be the best thing, is to move those up. No, I need that. Because I don't think the leg actually goes down that far.
Mm-hmm.
I want to select them in the left window. That looks good.
Okay.
I think maybe not that. This one.
You can select it in the left window.
There, I think I got it.
Mm.
So you have to press Alt, Control, Shift, and click, and then you can choose those.
I want to do anything except for move this window around, please.
Too much. I'm moving it too much everywhere. I just wanted it up a little bit. Not out. There. Okay. I think that shape is better now.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can go back to selecting the face. Is that right?
That looks about right.
I think this one and this one are missing from the selections.
I don't think you were able to select those before and it worked okay then.
I think I did get them finally.
Mm.
I can try it, but I think it's not gonna work. Oh, maybe it is selected okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and extrude again, and we'll fix the geometry in a minute.
And this is the part where it starts looking like it's clipping in itself.
Mm-hmm. I rotated that one too much. So every time you stop moving, that's when it finalizes your extrude.
Mm-hmm. It's like an auto copy paste.
Yeah, kind of.
If you look in the little blue screen, it looks like it has a fancy cuff on its goofy shirt.
Okay, I think I'm gonna stop there with the extruding
Mm-hmm.
and try to fix some of this. And not that way.
All the things.
Okay, I think let's just try this whole conglomerate here.
Thing is, the upper leg was looking okay. It's the lower leg that's like up against the upper
Mhm.
leg, and so it makes it hard to figure out. where
Yeah,
things
it is
should
hard. That's one dot here. Probably doesn't need to be quite that far over.
be. That is a weird thing that animals and bodies in general tend to do when they fold, is they like merge into the rest of the leg to make like a smaller area. But then in models, they just want to fold and make this like paper line,
Yeah.
and it goes all
hard
the
to
way
get it-
back.
hard to get it to work.
It's like, how do you stretch this to look correct without making it look like the texture is stretching?
Mm-hmm. Come on, I'll pull these guys with me.
We're all going on an adventure.
Yeah.
Is this why in Photoshop you don't use the lasso tool?
I do use the lasso tool.
Oh, okay. I'm just looking at this and it's like, this is a lot of cases where I would use the lasso tool if there was one.
I do use the lasso tool in Photoshop.
Okay.
It's not really an option right now, though.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said, if there was one.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like there was one in this.
No, I don't believe so.
It's got a long balloon shape leg.
Quite sure what happened there.
Seems like you might want to move on the blue screen so that we can actually see what's going on.
Okay, that's some of his foot.
other part is, do we follow exactly how the picture is, or do we try to make it look more like it's standing on a flat plane? Because on the picture it's very obviously not.
Yeah. It's going to be more kind of artist interpretation at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm wondering is if I have enough geometry to make the toes.
I think you need more geometry. There's only enough for like 2 toes.
So, 1.
Unless you have the toes just be a flat plane. It's like one big web. But then you wouldn't be able to make a giant frog.
No, I'm not going to do a flat plane. Yeah, I can't do it. So this is where I want to use rag motion instead. Rag motion would let me do what I'm trying to do right now, and this isn't letting me do it.
Oh, there we go. Seems like the toe should probably only have 2 joints, just to cut down on the amount of polygons.
Well, it depends on if you actually want your frog to be able to grab things. I'm gonna go with 3. And then we need to point it off at the end. Where we snap together and weld together.
You might want to say something about that snapping and molding together, because that was rather fast. You're like, alright, let's slowly explain everything, and then I'm just going to come with the, alright, back to slowly explaining everything.
Okay,
Like,
so
wait.
we'll do it on the next one. So there's 1 toe. And did I see?
Like, I'm pretty sure I've used that before in doing something, so I might have an idea of that. But for anyone else watching that got confused by that.
I'm also thinking I don't really like this toe. It doesn't look quite right.
It'd probably look fine from further away. It's too wide at the moment.
Well, it comes out of...
It looks like a good claw.
But not a toe.
I'm pretty sure you could have done that by just moving things around a bit, though.
But I want to actually choose better geometry to make the toe out of. I'm going to choose
Triangle face.
these up here. Not that. Did I do that? It's getting worse and worse. No. There. Those are the 2 I wanted. Okay, now I'm gonna do it again. Also, it looks like that is... I do have too much selected. Do I still have the 2 I want? Yes.
So why not select that triangle down there as well?
I was thinking about that, but I think I might. If I do these two here for 1, 2, 3, 4 toes, then this could be like the bottom of the foot.
Do they have 3 front toes or 4 front toes?
I think they have 4. Most animals have 4.
I guess it's just hard to tell from this angle.
It is hard to tell from this angle, but I'm pretty sure they have 4.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try and do that. And here we're just kind of imagining where the toe is over there. And then we go over here to vertex, snap together. And then we also want to weld it together, because until you weld it, it thinks it still has 3 vertices in that single point. And it will really mess up animation if you don't snap it together. So, there's a 1 toe.
I think you want to make that toe thinner.
What I might want to do is pull it more to the side. Which I can do from the top view, probably. If I can figure out where I am. I just grabbed the wrong screen. So what I might want to do is just select all these and that, and move it more to the side and rotate it out. And that will look better when we're done. It looks really freaky right now, but it'll look better when we're done. And then
It really looks like the toe needs to be thinner. Just a little bit. Like move those bottom triangles up a bit. Or something.
yeah, it looks like that might be a problem. I'm gonna make the next toe first, I think.
Okay. Might just look
I'm
weird
get-
because it's a one lonely toe.
I think it just looks really weird right now.
It's like, oh, it just has one lonely toe.
Yeah. Everything except the one I wanted. Okay. There. Okay. And 4. And snap together, weld together. These little- just that. Yeah, that one's probably too. Also.
You done select the other one?
Yeah, I'm gonna unselect it now. There we go. Kinda think this toe needs to be a little bit longer. Just move it out a little bit like that.
Kind of looks like the point needs to go out a little further as well.
Okay. They don't really have claw toes though. They have sticky pads on their toes, or they just have rounded toes. So
Yeah.
now this stuff that I think was bothering me before.
I think you had the right one before.
I think I needed both of them actually. And they need to move that way a little bit.
And I think we might need to move up. Or actually no, it's like way up compared to the rest of the foot if you look in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
You look in the picture, it has a real flat foot.
Mm-hmm. It does. I think this probably needs to actually come down more. You can see a little bit of that toe over there. Anyway, I think that's a little bit better. Okay, those are the two faces I want next. If I can grab them. Definitely not that. Not that, not that, not that. There, got it. I think that's right.
I think the toes need to go out the sides more.
They probably do.
Frogs are weird and their toes go way out.
Yeah, they probably do. But I just finished grabbing this. So I'm going to extrude it first.
Seems like a lot of amphibians have toes that just go out at like 180 degrees or something. It's like for the first and pinky finger type things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I can't even get my own fingers to go out that far to the side. How do you do that? It's like,
Snap together, weld together. So.
yeah.
I was actually trying to move the window and move the toe, but
Looks like it needs to go down.
it might fix after I do this.
Okay.
It's not quite right. But I think only that one is the other one that's wrong there. Oh. There we go. got it the way I wanted it, and then in my mind I'm like, okay, and now it needs to move back. And I was on the wrong tool. I was trying to move with the rotate tool and it doesn't work.
Although frogs are weird and sometimes have that toe longer than the rest.
Yeah, I was thinking that one might need to be a little bit longer, but I can't exactly see the anatomy of this particular frog to know for sure if it needs to be that way.
The main thing making the toes look weird right now is that pad on the bottom needs to go down, but you should probably put in the last toe first.
Yeah.
It's like bugging me, I'm constantly having to repeat in my head, no, need to do the other toe first.
I know. It's bugging me too. And I'm like, is that right? I don't think that's right. Why isn't this right? It doesn't look right.
I think you just selected everything except for the correct one.
I think so too. Let's try this.
No, that's the top plane.
Did I have it right?
It was real hard to tell. Maybe you do have it right.
I know it's not that one. And I know it's not that one. There. Looks right.
There's something down there that's grabbed as well.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull this all the way out because otherwise it's just one triangle and that might not work. And then I'll pull these down. I think it'll be okay. I don't quite have enough geometry to do this the way I'd prefer to do it, but it's the foot and this is a small creature. And
It's a tiny frog and we probably don't even need this much geometry.
Yeah, I think we already have more geometry than we really need. So I think we're gonna be okay.
No, we got a massive toe.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is what I want, but say I had two over here, but I only have one on this side. Why do we only have one here?
Because it's the pinky toe and should be smaller anyway.
Maybe. Let's just undo all this, because that looks wrong. There's 3 selected here. I had too much selected. What else is selected?
There was that bit attached to the other bit, which is very descriptive.
Yes, it is. Quite. Alright, let's try that. See if it looks better.
Pretty sure that's wrong, but let's see. Yep. You unselected the one part you need.
I did, in fact.
Oh, that's why.
Oh,
there's
that's what
3.
that was.
That's
That's where the third one is.
There is just a flat plane of triangles. That is not helpful.
Okay, undo extrude.
Do we just remove one of the dots? Will that kill it?
I think it will kill it. But what we can do is grab it's that one. Vertex. Vertex. I need the vertex. There. And we're gonna come over here. And we're gonna choose the correct tool this time and actually move it instead of
Unselecting it.
unselecting it. We're gonna pull it up
So we can actually see it.
so we can see it. And then looks like it needs to come forward. And then we're gonna pull this one down, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a lot. So it goes there. Now we're gonna pull it out, so it gives us a shape of a hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna go back to that one that was up there again. And we're gonna move it over here and pull it back down again because I don't think it actually needs to be that tall.
Mm-hmm.
And I have somehow accidentally moved it all the way back on top of the foot. Okay.
Very wrinkly frog. Looks like it needs to go down again.
It might need to go down a little bit, yes, but I was looking at something else.
Okay.
I wasn't even looking at that tote anymore, unfortunately. I was looking at this, and I'm like, why is that so far back? I think it's gonna have to go up a little bit, and it'll be okay. And out. So. That's one. Yes. We're gonna move that out here. Not quite like that though. These two, this geometry actually needs to be reoriented. I think.
So what if you used extrude to just add another face and vertex?
What?
And if you just like selected one spot right there and just extruded to the side to add an extra dot.
I don't understand what you mean. Where? From here? Select this triangle? You have to select a triangle. You can't just extrude a vertex. You have to extrude a triangle.
I'm not sure where you're saying you need stuff.
Well,
done
what I'm
differently.
saying is that these two need to actually be divided here instead of divided here
Mm.
to work the way we want it to, I think. I could be wrong though. I think I'm just going to leave it alone and just work with what I have. I think it's better now. So we're going to go back to choosing the faces and choose
Not all of those.
not the everything. And try again.
Now that we can actually see what the computer's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could try extruding on that one that you mentioned.
We need to get these in.
Could rotate them on the other plane. definitely needs to go down.
This
It's
is really.
it is a French frog that holds his pinky up like a formal frog.
Yeah.
It's looking a lot lower than the rest.
It is. I was trying to follow this line here, but I think I don't have enough things that I'm trying to do, and that's not working right. It's kind of broken.
Yeah, I think you need to rotate it counterclockwise.
Well, I think what I actually need to do is pull some of this down.
Well, if you look on the bottom left thing, the vertices in kind of the middle of where you're selecting
Right here.
kind of make a
these-
zigzag, and so if you straighten that out, it'll make less of a broken look.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that.
It kind of looks like where it comes out needs to go out a bit further.
What?
Well, if you look, all the others are kind of evenly spaced out a bit, and then this one's kind of squished into the toe next to it.
Yeah,
at the
that's
base.
what I was getting ready to fix.
Okay.
Also, this looks a little bit broken.
There we go, now it's straight.
All this under here.
Oh, you're fixing all that under there.
Well, some of it is causing the visual anomaly that we're seeing. Like, see how high that is? It's way up there.
All of it's way up there.
That one was particularly bad.
Oh, that's what was selected. I couldn't even see what it was.
It's right over here.
It's all on the bottom left one.
Yeah. Kind of trying to find that right there.
It might
Also-
be the one up in. I was gonna say to the right, but no, it's the other one over there. One more back. There we go, we found it. Unless you're looking for something else.
I'm looking for bulb loam. There they are.
That further back one looks like it might need to go a little bit further down.
Yeah. And also the one I think that it's connected to. Uh-oh. Pulled that one in. Wasn't trying to do that.
that to be flat.
I'm just gonna pull the whole thing down.
It was looking more like it needed some rotating, but that could work as well. That's pretty close. That one for this out seems to need to go back in a bit. From some angles it looks okay, and then from others it's like, that looks real far out.
Yeah. Move. So we have one leg and foot.
However, if you look in the top left screen, the toes are slanted, and I think the lowest one is actually on the outside of the foot, so it's standing like this. I think the lowest one is actually at a pretty good height. The rest of them need to go down.
Yeah, I was trying to see which one that was.
Looks much more firmly planted already. That toe next to it needs to go down now. It's like, you're looking at one screen, yes, that looks much better. Look at the other one. Not quite there yet.
That is bothering me right there.
That one looks really bulky. I think that was one of the more bulky ones that needed to be narrowed. Also looks like it might need to be lengthened a little bit. Yeah, the tip of it is larger than the base of it. that way and in the up down.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, turn that to be facing kind of flush. I'm used to doing something else. Yeah, there. You see that? There's only one thing there. No wonder it looks so thin.
Mm-hmm.
On the toe we're working on, there's that little bit right there. It's super thin, because the thing is way high up. It does look like there is another triangle there that is just
there
squished
is.
up against, so we should be able to move that down. You have to click on it, I think.
I got it.
Mm-hmm. Yay, we saved the tool.
There.
Much better.
Yeah, that looks better.
Yay.
I'm trying to figure out what was the matter with that. You got it. Okay.
I was looking at how
I think that happened when I rotated it.
maybe. Although I think it was kind of narrow the
And
whole
there's
time.
there's
from
another dot in there doing exactly the same thing. Right there. And that one too, I think.
I think that was actually narrow and left over from when the foot hadn't been pulled down yet. For some reason, when you try to pull it forward on there, it pulls it sideways.
Yeah, it can do that sometimes. Because it doesn't actually know where you are in 3D space. It only knows where you are on that flat plane, and it can skew things.
Seems like it should just move in the flat plane. Stop trying to do 3D and 2D. Just let me move it in 2D. Looks like the forwardmost one you have selected needs to move forward a bit. Because if you turn to be able to see the planes on there, it's kind of squished. Or actually, no, it's like the dot right in front of the one that you have selected.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to figure out where that is.
But yeah, it's really hard to see on any of the screens other than that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to just click on it. It seems like the squared tool doesn't work very well in that one.
Hmm?
Well, like the square selecting doesn't seem to work very well in the 3D thing. So
No,
need
you
just
have
click
to actually
directly on
just
it.
click the thing.
That looks better.
Okay, I think we have a foot,
Yay!
which looks really weird disembodied that way. Save our work. It's almost time to start cooking dinner. Did you learn enough to stop in this session today?
Maybe. How do I move around
How do you move what around?
the screen? I want to look at a thing up there.
You have to left click to select the screen, And then to zoom out, you just scroll with the mouse wheel. And then to move it around, you have to press Control.
That's what I couldn't do with stealing your mouse.
Control and then left click to
Okay.
drag it around.
So it can zoom back in on the elbow. Because something I noticed right at the start is that this spot on the elbow goes out too far. The elbow and the frog ends here. Actually, technically the elbow's up here, his part stops here.
We can move those.
Yay. Seems like a quick move.
Probably need to move all those so that they move evenly.
It's just you started seaming and stopping. I'm like, wait, before we forget.
They could probably move even more. To get some good lines there. So in the photo, one foot is more forward than the other. In our model, they'll both be identical because it's just not really easy to do that.
Well, the thing
so when we
is-
get the rest of the body done,
But the thing is,
Well-
that's more of a posing thing. You would just change the
Mhm.
positioning of the
Right.
legs after you have it rigged.
right, when you rig it, you change them. So when we get the rest of the body done, we will have to take these verts right here on this side and connect them to the body. Now, there are ways to rig it without actually connecting it to the geometry, but it's really better if you actually connect it to the geometry.
It almost looks like those verts need to be moved down a little bit.
There's one here that looks like it's too far down.
Yeah, that one's
one
too
looks
far
like it
down.
needs to come up.
And then the others kind of look like they need to go down a bit because most of the roundness is at the top, but I think a lot of it's actually more in the middle bottom. Could be wrong though.
Part of what was happening here is I'm getting tired and making lots of mistakes.
Well, we can see 101 things not to make a frog.
Yeah, there's one here poking out over here. We probably don't want that. No.
Although that's the part that would get attached to the body, I think, so it probably doesn't matter as much.
It might not matter as much, yeah. Anyway, so that's a little bit of a start. I was hoping we'd get a lot more done today than what we did, but
But everything goes slow when you're making a tutorial.
yeah, well,
And also toes are hard. Just hands in general.
3D art is hard. Making models takes longer. I can see it all in my mind, and I'm like, oh yeah, just do this, dot, 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 dot. And then I start doing it. Here's a dot. Here's a dot. So it just takes. You have to really slow down and actually do the work, and it's hard. But there's an arm for our frog, and so we can go back over here and.
Turn on everything else,
So
and then
let's
we
just
can
do
this.
unhide all, and you can kind of see where we're at. Getting
Oh yeah, the leg needs to move out. Outward with the leg.
yeah. So we need to rename that right leg. Actually, I do the leg first, and then which one it is. Right. And then I can
'Cause
find them easier.
Because you're just glancing through at the first word, and all of it is like, leg. That's what I'm looking for.
Now I could select that group. That looks really freaky. A little bit disturbing. And this is the right side. So you're gonna move it to the right. And it's probably halfway
Yeah.
between the eye, I would think. So we'll sit like that. And this, having the leg here, may actually also help us
Figure out the width.
figure out the width of the body.
Because the body should go all the way to the edge of the outer part of the leg. It looks like,
Yeah.
or almost there.
Now we duplicate that and mirror left, right, and we have the right leg, and the left leg as well. So that goes a little bit faster. You're like, boom, done. Boom, done. So I like that part. But yeah, we do still have to finish out the rest of the geometry for the body, and then make the back leg, and then texture it, and then rig it,
And then we can just duplicate it and have like 50,000 frogs.
and then we can have as many frogs as we want. It takes a long time to make one model, but then once you get it done, then you can.
Yeah, that is the one thing. If you wanted to use it for, say, animating, if you're doing 2D animation, as soon as you draw one thing, you practically scrap it and draw another thing just to make another frame. With this, you do a whole bunch of work right at the start to get the model all nice and pretty and done. And then you don't have to make it again for the rest of the animation process.
Right. Right. So, in this way, we're able to. We just make one frog, and then we use the frog everywhere we want to have a frog.
And then you retexture it because we don't want to go through making a whole different frog if it's only a very slight body type difference.
Right. Then you could change the texture, and you could make fantasy frogs. And you can do whatever you want.
Like glowing eyes.
Purple frogs.
Purple frogs with teal spots.
And glowing blue eyes. Yeah. Anyway, you can do whatever you want afterwards with the textures. The textures can make it look like you have all kinds of different frogs, and you just do it all with one thing.
I'm also realizing this frog seems to be at a slight angle from the camera.
So when we're all done with the frog, we can actually rotate the whole model just a little bit using the rotate tool. We'll just grab the whole thing and rotate it just enough so that it's level on the ground, and it will be fine. We'll do that before we rig it. If you do it after you rig it, then it's a little
Yeah,
more
that's
problem,
like
but-
an up-down rotation. I was thinking a left-right rotation that you can't quite fix as easily.
Oh yeah.
Like the head is tilted away so that it's flat with the camera, but then the body seems tilted towards the camera.
It is a little bit. I can't really do much about that.
Yeah.
And I think this model's small enough it won't matter too much. And that's one problem with using reference art instead of
Doing it on your own.
just totally. Yeah, that
But the
was-
thing about doing it on your own is you could forget even more about anatomy and make it even worse.
Right. So if it was completely exactly on a flat plane, you would not see this eye lump over here. They would be exactly lined up, and obviously it isn't. So what we might do after it's all done and textured, we might pull the nose out a little bit, because its nose is probably a little bit longer than that. But it's such a slight difference, it might not matter. We might not care, and it just might not matter.
Yeah, what I'm worried about is it might be making the front arm look a lot bigger than the back leg.
I was noticing we're going to have to make this leg really long here, and then go back, and then come back forward again. And that's going to be more of a challenge, and it's already 5 o'clock, and so we can't... I don't think we have time to make the back leg tonight.
Join
but
us for another stream another time.
yes. Join us next time as we
Make a frog.
finish making our frog. And I had planned on also making a bird, and we were going to actually attach the wings to a bird.
That can
but-
be on an entirely separate thing so people don't get confused
We
in the middle of
didn't.
the tutorial or whatever this
Yeah,
is.
so we didn't
And
have
you're
enough
like, why is it a
time.
bird
I
now?
thought we were going to make 2 models today, and we didn't even finish one. So
I wasn't expecting.
that's how much I
underestimate how much time.
underestimated my
like-
time. So
I wasn't expecting to even finish one model.
So
I may be
and we didn't.
I may have thought we would get a little more done, but I wasn't expecting to get 2 models done by a long shot.
So anyway, that's where we are today, and this is. I wish this thing would stop yelling at me. No, I don't want to do that right now. Maybe later, but not right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we can finish it. This looks a little bit like some kind of weird fantasy model right now. Just a 2-legged frog. We will add his hind legs next time, and he will be a better frog.
He'll be a very happy frog.
And I think we're probably done for now and need to go make dinner.
Goodbye, anyone that's watching.
Thank you for watching.
Now we're in the future.